What's up, everybody? Welcome back to HOA MMA. AJ, how you doing today, man?
It's been one of those weeks, man. You know, after when you go on vacation and it's like your first full week back.
Oh yeah.
It's been one of those weeks.
Yeah, it's dragging.
It's been one of those dragging weeks.
But, you know what? You know what's great for a bad week though? A kick-ass UFC card coming up this weekend for pay-per-view.
And what I saw on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, how did that fight end up going down?
Bro, so I've been a big fan of Inoue for 5-6 years since he beat Jamie McDowell, I think in 2018. I think I mentioned it before. You know, this whole week's been billed as one of the best combat sports weeks ever. You know, you had Inoue Bolton on Tuesday. You've got weekend. You basically got the big one. You've got Spencer against Crawford. You've got the kick-ass, fucking amazing, very, very fan-friendly UFC 291.
Yes.
Very, very fan-friendly. We're going to go into that a little bit later on. But around 12:30, 1 o'clock my time, you know, luckily that day I was at home. I was just watching the fight unfold. You know, you got Inoue moving up to his full weight class, become a full weight world champion. Bolton's from Philadelphia, undefeated, world champion, an absolute technician. He's technically sounding great. He's a great boxer. He has good defensive instincts. Definition of hit and don't get hit.
Right.
What I saw from Inoue was nothing short of incredible. I already knew that he was good and he was elite and he's one of the pound-for-pound best boxers out there. But he outboxed Bolton in every department. His footwork, you know, finding that range, and even making Bolton miss and really pushing him back. And even with that, even though the reputation of this fight was going to be boxer against puncher, the puncher outboxed the boxer. He showed what I already knew, that he has everything. But to do get someone that good, and when you're moving up in weight, and the way that he finished him, the way from literally from the first round, just jab into the body, jab into the body, just kind of set him up, you know. Eventually, 2 minutes to the body, eventually your hands are going to go lower. Your hands are going to go low to defend. He comes with a clean overhand right, rocks him. The follow-up is fucking ridiculous, drops him down. We think he's out. And Inoue jumping on the top rope thinking it's over. Bolton gets up. He's still staggered, but he gets up. Inoue's like, I bet. I'm going to go down there and beat you up some more. Puts him away, an absolute masterclass. I couldn't believe it. He's, as we are talking right now, he is the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world right now. That can change come Saturday night, but bro, it's an absolute masterclass. He's literally the real life Epo. He's real life Epo. I'm not saying that just because he's Japanese and he's small. No, bro, he is ruthless in there. Amazing, amazing.
But I saw the highlight sequence that you were talking about, the big shot that put him down, and then the finish. And like you said, just incredible. He gives you the Ippo vibe, like you said. Just watching the highlight, I got that same vibe. Just like you said, your Tuesday night, you had a hell of a fight, and then obviously we're coming into another boxing match, and then we've got UFC 291. That's the perfect way to recover from just a dragging weekend. Let's talk about what happened last weekend. Tom Aspinall conquers just an incredible return to the octagon. Let's talk about UFC London. Before we get to, obviously, Tom, talk to me a little bit about the undercard and just highlight a couple guys on the undercard. And I know we're going to talk about your guy, Davey Grant, because that was a close one. Very, very close. Go ahead and give us a little bit of that undercard review.
I thought the undercard was actually really good. It really exceeded expectations for me. There's one fight in particular where I'm going to pick up first, which is between two guys who I knew nothing about. It was Parkin against Pogues, two heavyweights, and they had a very technical chess match. And that's very rare to see. I think the only other really technical fight I've seen that with guys that big was Volkov against Garn. But like them two were going jab for jab. It wasn't them literally just swinging like I'm gonna knock you out because I weigh 265 pounds and I have power. They are really precise. Obviously, Parkin obviously won it, and he was a bit more polished. But you know, jabs, leg kicks, like trying to like set up traps. Like it was very refreshing to see. You know, guys that size have really like fundamental skills, and they're both only, I think they're both like 27 and 28, so they're very young still. So they both have really high ceilings. Parkin is Tom Aspinall's teammate, so that kind of shows like the kind of like looks he's seen day in day out.
Right.
So that fight for me was like that one really took me by surprise, but in a very very good way. I really a lot.
I think Parkin has some skills that could parlay into something a little bit more. I think Pogues is obviously a little bit behind on the overall, but I thought, like you just said, both guys were in the fight. They were entertaining. Parkin did touch him up a little bit as it went on, and that's where you got the pull away for the unanimous decision. But I think Pogues, he's an entertaining fighter. I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, like you said, that was a very strong fight for two guys that we haven't heard a lot about up until now. What else do you got? You highlighted Dickides versus Alvarez. He got out of there with the choke that put him away. What did you think about that choke?
Alvarez, that's pretty much sums up Alvarez. In all of his wins are all finishes, and I think he's now in double digits in terms of submissions. You know, that's kind of what he does. I do feel a bit bad for Mark. I feel in that fight there was like a clash of heads, and that kind of did play like a part. And you can tell Mark was compromised by it. But again, Joe Alvarez is like legit. Like Alvarez is on the fringe of a top 15 ranked kind of guy. Like if you really kind of like put it together, you know. It was a good fight whilst it obviously like lasted. The fight for me for the prelims was Danny Roberts against the Sloganaut. Yeah. Like that happens when Danny Roberts fights. It's either him or it's them. And at first he was like kind of, you know, maintaining range, keeping it very tight, but eventually he got clipped and he went, I'm gonna bite down on my mouthpiece, and them two just went at it in the second round. Like them two just basically going blow for blow. And unfortunately, not fortunately for obviously Danny, he got rocked. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people are gonna say, well, there was 1 second left in the second round. We don't know when you've taken that much like damage. You come out in the third round and he could just get slept and he could be concussed out. So I didn't have any problems with it, but whilst that fight lasted, it was as advertised. A guy who's called the Sloganaut, he slugged it out, man.
Exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, to be fair, Roberts did get dropped twice, so it's not like it wasn't, you know. So, and that's the ref's job. You got to protect these guys from themselves sometimes. Yeah, there was two and a half seconds left in the round, but that's still two seconds probably feels like an eternity when you're on the ground and you're getting hit. Like, I don't know if people really realize that is a long time when you're the one on the ground taking the shots. But like you said, that was a really fun fight for the almost 3 round, 2 full rounds we got of it. Did you think Davey Grant pulled that fight out?
I thought he won that.
Yeah. I mean, I thought both guys fought a really good fight. I thought it was close. It was very, very it was a split decision like that. I mean, that's fair. I thought Davey Grant won when I watched it. I thought Davey Grant won also.
I think they took too much stuff into when Davey Grant kind of got busted up, but it wasn't because of like accumulation hits. It was actually one shot that kind of like busted him open. Yeah. Apart from that, in that round, Davey Grant was okay, and these fights stayed on the feet, mainly, and Grant landed a lot more strikes, especially when there were significant strikes, way more. And I hate being that guy he kind of just whirls, who kind of looks at the box score, but even just watching it, Davey was a lot more active and he was landing the more cleaner shots. and Marcos at times was kind of just like backpedaling like a little bit, which is fine. Which is fine because at the end of the day, avoiding damage, like that's kind of like your job out there. As much as it is given out, you need to make sure that the other guy doesn't really return fire on you. But I just felt like Davey did enough to win. I just couldn't see how you could give 2 rounds the other way.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. I thought Davey did enough to win, so I was a little bit surprised when they gave that to Marcos. Let's jump ahead. Main card. We started off. LaRon Murphy got the unanimous decision. How do you think he looked, man? I thought that guy is crisp. I think he looks really good. I thought he showed well on the feet, on the ground with the takedowns. I was really impressed with his outing.
Same, very impressed. Again, Coulibao's only lost once, and that was at 155 pounds against Jalen Turner, who's ranked up there, who is crazy big. Again, I know we went over that last week as well. Yep. Coulibao's good. Like in terms of facing someone outside of the top 15, Coulibao is as good as you can get, and Lerone kind of took him to school everywhere. Like literally, in terms, he was crisp on the feet. He got timely takedowns. He got really good and smart takedowns. He obviously kept him there. He was going for damage. And even when he hit that kind of like phantom body kick, he kind of just grazed him, but it could hurt him and put him down. And Coulibao's tough. And Coulibao had his moments in the first round. He was kind of like going in there and kind of not saying piecing Lerone up, but he was landing a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Really, really well. But obviously Lerone, and this is what I alluded to as well. It's good seeing Lerone active because now you're seeing him being very sharp. I feel like his fight earlier in the year wasn't really him at his best, but now he's shaking off like that rust a little bit. He's now showing how good he is, and personally for me, it's a top 15 guy next because he's clearly shown that facing anyone that gets top 15, he's not really going to get tested unless he gets like a step up. And I feel right now it's time, and he can easily fight again this year because he didn't take that much damage.
I would assume he wants to be back in there probably in December or even late November. I would assume because he fought well.
Maybe even sooner because most of his fights before have always been in Abu Dhabi. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if he says, "Get me out there as soon as possible and get me like a top 15 guy." Speaking of which,
I wonder if they're booked up. That's why they would maybe push him back.
Speaking of which, we found your boy,
Giga.
We found your boy.
They found him. He's got to fight. He's
against
alive.
Against my guy, Bruce Leroy.
He's alive.
He's alive.
When I heard the news, I was rejoiced. I was so it's not very, when people are missing for years at a time, you usually just declare them dead, and we found him. I mean, it's great, but good for him. That's a fun fight. I mean, if Giga is not broken, that's a fun fight.
That's a very fun fight.
We'll get into that probably coming down the line, obviously. After that one, we had Paul Craig, man. Craig at middleweight. What? Ja, and then Paul Craig. Sorry, Ja versus Ziem. What'd you think about this one?
It wasn't the fight that I was expecting because I kind of thought that it's going to be 2 long-range kickboxers who are going to go at it, kind of like Hooker Turner, but clearly Jai Herbert's plan was I want to negate that by going for takedowns and leaning on my, Francis 26, I'm faithful. I have a lot more experience. I have a lot more to my game. I want to show you I'm a fully fledged MMA fighter, but the takedowns, because he isn't a wrestler, he doesn't have that pedigree, even though he can get the takedowns, it kind of showed, and Ziem was able to kind of keep him off because he has such a long frame, he was able to, whenever he got pushed, against the cage, he was able to use that to kind of keep him up. Again, it wasn't the most exciting fight. but I felt like Ziam did just enough to win because personally, I kind of felt like Jai should have been a bit more confident in his hands, and for some reason he went for more of a grappling heavy game plan, and which in theory sounds like the best thing to do, but obviously in hindsight now it kind of looks like maybe you should have just kind of doubled down on what you're good at rather to try to do something else to try to stop someone else of what they're good at, you know.
I agree, and because his hands are so good, you would have thought that would he did have decent control time, but he didn't score a takedown. He didn't he wasn't able to really follow through with the grappling, like you said. And I think that gave Ziam enough opening to get him the win. Because if you look, obviously stats don't tell the whole story, but if you look at them, the stats are very close. Ziam has a slight advantage if you go by the numbers. So it's interesting to see if maybe Herbert would have let the hands go a little bit more, if he could have pulled out a decision for himself there. Sorry, I was so excited about Paul Craig at 185.
Paul Craig.
You know what, guys, I'm just going to come out and say it. The Bear Jew is alive and well at 185. I think I'm going to double down. I think he can make a run. I don't think he could beat Izzy. That's not what I'm saying. But he provides something different. And I think that's good at 185. So let's break down the fight a little bit. Paul Craig gets the TKO over Munoz. Tell me how you thought about how he looked, man.
I'm torn when it comes to this because one, I'm happy that obviously Paul Craig won. It was a very impressive win, but it was against someone. Clearly now we know that Muniz isn't great on the feet because we've seen against someone like Paul Craig who isn't known for his hands. And Muniz did well in the first round. It was close, and obviously Muniz got the takedown and kind of got on top, you know. And he has a really good top game. Mm-hmm. That flips around in round two.
Right.
Paul Craig goes out there. He gets on top. He gets in position. You know, he managed to scramble out and literally just rain down on him. It's clearly now shown that even though he's not known for being a striker, he does have power. Like Paul Craig's huge, and that power was powered down a lower weight class, and you know. He literally just bombed him on, literally, he got on top, he just pieced him up, just ground and pounded him out.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see how he does against someone who has better striking than him at 185 pounds, because we've seen at 205 when he's faced against better strikers, for the most part, if they're able to kind of keep it on their feet and don't go into his world, they kind of have their way with him a little bit. So on one side, I do agree in the sense that he does present something different, because a lot of people there are a few grapplers, you know, like Brunson and Marvin Vittori and Hermansson. They're gonna be hesitant going down to the ground with him because he has such a dangerous skill set. But again, it's just a case of because everyone knows what he's good at, and there is a hole in terms of him on the feet. I don't want to let the Muniz fight against someone who doesn't have that really much good hands either. Kind of master see, okay, can he go on a run? I want to see him against someone between maybe 10 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe after that, if he goes out there and does what he did last week, then I'm basically all in. You know, he could go and make a run. I just think it's a bit too soon for me just yet. But don't get me wrong, it doesn't take away, because that was an impressive performance. Paul Craig's tough. He's going to be a tough out for anyone.
I think that's fair. I think it's definitely more fair to wait and see until he fights somebody who's a little bit better with the hands. But Paul Craig, very impressive debut at 185. Let's jump over to Nathaniel Wood. Hey.
This should have been fight tonight. I'm sorry. This should have been fight.
I think that's fair. Daniel Wood gets the unanimous decision over Andre Fili. Hell of a fight, man. Hell of a fight. Tough. Just two guys that are just
dogs.
Tough.
Dogs, man.
And I mean, Wood looked good with the hands. He was able to get the takedown. He worked the legs. He did a little bit of everything that it takes to win these fights. And big shout out to Nathan Wood. You know, big shout out.
And in the first round, he got rocked. He legit got rocked. And I
Yeah.
I thought early on, oh shit, you're in trouble. But he managed to weather the storm, and them two just went them two went for literally like tit for tat.
Mm-hmm.
But Wood did enough. Like Wood, after overcoming that initial like knockdown and getting rocked, even though Andre Fili shows why he's kind of been there, done that, and why he's been in the UFC for so long, because he's tough. He's tough, and he really put it on out there. Wood really came on strong in rounds 2 and 3, and when he's on because his speed is a problem at this weight class. People say, well, he's undersized. Well, all I have to say is just, look at the champ. The champ's very undersized, and he's done pretty well so far,
Right.
Again, I feel like I wouldn't be shocked if they because the fight was so fun and back and forth, I wouldn't be surprised if they give Wood a top 15 guy next. I'll kind of like to see him maybe have one more fringe guy potentially. But if he goes
after his last win, didn't you want him one more fringe guy last time? Because I thought we talked about Nate Daniel Wood. I thought you wanted him one more fringe guy.
Honestly, I did, but considering that, like, if Andre Fili can like rock you, if someone higher above does that, then you're going to be in some deep shit. As much as he came out of it, but it's quite fun right now because again we've always got Arnold Allen, we've got Jack Shaw, we've got Lerone, and we've got Wood. We've got 4 really. We've always got one who's way far ahead right now, but we've also got another 3 really good featherweights who could potentially be in the mix at some point. And to be fair, I wouldn't be shocked if we see Lerone against Wood, because that fight was obviously meant to happen in March. I wouldn't be shocked if them two fight down the line, but it was a fun fight. How did that not win fight of the night? I do not know.
I agree with you totally. Let's jump ahead. The next fight definitely wasn't the fight of the night, and it's probably the last time we're going to see Molly McCann on a main card for a little while. She's just not it, man. She stinks. She stinks. She's lucky that Patty drug her around for a while, and she got very lucky a couple fights. She stinks. I don't know what to tell you. She stinks. Good for Juliana, but
she's just very one-dimensional. It's clearly once you get her down on the ground, she's food. Like she's literally just food. Because even the way in which she turned into the armbar, that's like, what.
Where are you going?
And like you were in a very decent position anyway, but you brought yourself into an even worse position. And then once you get locked in like that against someone who is a submission like an expert like that, you're just gonna tap. It's over. It's basically uncool. I know that she said she's gonna move down to 115 pounds, but again, you're gonna face again. But if you look you're moving down in probably the most competitive women's weight class. Yeah.
So you had a nice run. You were entertaining for a little while. You're whatever. I'm out. Just count me out. Don't put her on the main card. If you want to put her on the undercard of a pay-per-view, more power to you. But let's not do this anymore. Let's get on to the real excitement of the night. The return to grace for Tom Aspinall, Tommy Ass, with a beautiful TKO over Tibera. I loved the interview afterward. I loved the call out. I loved the positioning. I thought this was a home run from every sense of the word. I do think that him leaving out Sergey was interesting because I think Sergey's very clearly got that spot right now. But I liked the call out of the winner of Gone and Spivak. That was really well done. It got everybody's attention, which is what it needs to do. And he had a plan when he went onto the microphone. And I tell you that all the time. You have to have a plan. And he had a plan, and he delivered a hell of a promo.
Uncle Joe was proud.
Great job, Tom Aspinall. Thank you for doing it the right way. Go ahead.
That fight was a clinic.
Oh,
absolute clinic. Like, he's like, considering that he's come off that injury, his movement was even better than most before. He was in flow mode from the word go. He was flowing. He was tagging Tybura like literally within the first few seconds. He throws a high kick.
Yes,
it was a high kick.
Awesome.
So he's showing I'm back to 100%. He was dialed in, flowing. His movement was amazing. Someone that size to move like that. I know everyone talks about Garn and his movement. Garn is a bit more like Wonderboy-esque. He's a bit more bouncing on his toe, in and out. Tom was circling around him, just going around, going around. Literally every single time he touched him, Tybura was basically rocked. He was literally overwhelming Tybura, and then when he kind of really, the first time he landed clean, rocked him, literally just put him out. Tom has really shown and kind of confirmed what a lot, well, at least us, at least me and you and quite a few people have kind of thought, but we couldn't really say because we felt like he hasn't had that win yet, even though the Volkov win was like impressive.
Yes.
Tom Aspinall is one of the best heavyweights in the world, period. He's shown that. Yeah. A lot of people are going to shit on Tybura. He's not that good, but Tybura was basically informed. He was informed.
Yeah, he's a top 10 heavyweight in the world. It's a hard fight no matter what.
He's only lost once in the last 3 years or so, right? And that was against Volkov. And Tom literally picked him apart. It wasn't close. Tom took no damage. He probably didn't even get hit.
Right. No, it's that the idea that Tybura's not up to snuff is a lie to discredit Tom for whatever reason. Why would you even want to discredit Tom Aspinall after that? That's a weird hill to die on for sure.
And this is literally what heavyweight needs, because we know the cloud hanging over the head. Again, I'm kind of going over what we said last week, but we got John against Stipe. Most likely is, if all rumors to be true, John's probably going to retire if he wins. Stipe, win or loss, is probably going to retire anyway, because I don't think he's going to stay around to fight these guys. Moving forward, you've really got 4 up and coming guys. Well, 4 guys who are kind of like new blood. You already know who they are: Aspinall, Garn, Sergey, and Almeida. Tom making a statement has lined himself up, and then the fact that he said, like you said as well afterwards, he's going to go to Paris. He's going to fight the winner of obviously Garn and Spivak. I believe he's saying that because he believes that Garn's probably going to win, and that's the fight that everyone's been talking about for a very long time, and the fight that both him and Garn won as well. He was asked in the back as well in an interview saying, "Oh, why do you not say Sergey?" But he said, "I'll fight him in November if it means that I get closer towards like a title shot." But he just knows that him and Gon have to fight. Him and Gon have to cross paths, and that makes a lot of sense. If you're going to go out to beat the guy who was the last person to fight for the belt, that regardless, like once you win, if you beat Gon, you're going to go and have a title shot next period. Whether that's against John Jones, I don't know. But I feel like what Tom needs to, if Tom wants the John fight to happen, Tom needs to go out there and just be so dominant that making enough noise that obviously John cannot retire without fighting him. Because let's just say hypothetically, John beats Stipe, he rises off into the set, he's like the greatest of all time, which most people think. Baker belt comes up, Tom wins, Tom goes on a dominant run. If you want to go, John was good at heavyweight, he won the belt, he won against Garn, he beat against Stipe, but he didn't beat the next guy coming up. That's basically kind of the mindset to think that. In John's mind, he's probably thinking, well, I've just been like a row of legends, like literally throughout my entire career. I don't really need that on my resume. But part of me may feel like, let me just go beat him just to show that I'm really that guy. But all round though, Tom was amazing.
Fantastic. So congratulations, Tom Aspinall. Hell of a job on the mic. Well done. UFC London, another smashing success. They're just not going to have a bad night when they go to London, I guess. Let's jump ahead to something that you wanted to touch on this week. We're both going to name our top 3 baddest motherfuckers in the UFC Now, we're talking right now.
Right now.
Okay, start off with your number 3.
So I've kind of based my 3 in terms of what I feel like the definition of a bad motherfucker is, which is these 3 right here will fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Like they're like a true, like, a fight is fire, basically. My number 3, I have got the Hangman. I've got Dan Hooker.
Fair.
Dan has shown that he will fight on like short notice. You know, he fought against Islam after coming off a win against Nasrat on like 2-3 weeks notice, who is a stylistic matchup nightmare, and it showed in that fight. And Dan's a dog. The fight against Dustin Poirier, the fight against Paul Felder, the recent fight against Jalen Turner. Dan will go out and fight you, like, and he will fight anyone, and Dan is game, and he's tough, like, and Dan's been in some wars, so that's why I have him in my number 3.
Okay, my number 3 is going to be a newer guy that I consider this when you said baddest motherfucker. I think your definition's fair too, but I also thought this guy is dangerous. I would never want to be in a situation where this guy is against me. And I picked Pantoja for my first one. The way he fought against Moreno, just like that style is brutal. And
he's violent. He's the definition of violence.
It's, to me, like, violent, badass. It's very, very tit for tat. So I have him as my number 3 right now. Who is your number 2?
He's fighting this weekend. I've got our man Trailblazer. I've got Kevin Holland, because he's shown he'll fight anyone.
Yep.
He'll fight anyone.
He was my number 1. So yeah, keep going.
He'll fight anyone. I mean, you know, in 2020 when a lot of people kind of became familiar, like, with him. He had 5 fights in a year, like, during the pandemic, 5 wins. He was active even before that.
Yeah.
His first fight in UFC was against Thiago Santos at middleweight, when fucking Thiago was a fucking berserker.
Mm-hmm.
And he went the whole distance with him. That kind of says it all. That kind of like planted the seeds of how tough this guy is. You know, he's always game. He's one of the few people where, you know, when people say on social media, I'll fight him, I'll turn up, you know, like very like late like notice. When Holland says that, you know he will actually do it. He fought for Tory on last minute after losing to Bronson.
Didn't care.
He ran it straight back against someone who is a matchup nightmare for him, because Vettori is so big, and he has a wrestling heavy game, which isn't what Kevin's good at. Right. You know, he fought against Hamza in that fucking crazy week.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He stepped in and fought Chimaev when nobody else would. Nobody else would touch him, and he stepped up and he took a fight, and he knew exactly what was going to happen. He took his beating, and that's Kevin Holland. He's a badass. He will answer the phone. He will answer the phone for 3 weight classes, pretty much. Like, he'll just do. I mean, he doesn't care. He'll do it.
And he'll fight anyone.
He was trying to fight.
Jack Della.
Yeah, he was going to fight Jack just a week and a half ago. So it's just the point that Kevin Holland is the epitome of badass, and he proves it all the time. I'm going to give somebody like a participation medal for this one, which is a weird way to say it. I got to give Sean Strickland credit. Sean Strickland will step up and he will fight, and he'll say a bunch of goofy ass shit, but he will go in and he will fight, and he's proven that against Izzy, because he's stepping up where obviously Drickus is injured, and he's going to take the spot, and he's going to take a beating, and he'll probably fight in a couple months after that again. I think Sean does a good job. I don't, calling him a badass seems like too much of a compliment for Sean, but he is a really tough guy. But my number 1 is Alexander Volkanovski. I think he's fought everyone. He's called out the hardest fights. He wants Islam. He's going to fight Islam again, I believe. Volk, he's fought with a bad arm for over a year. I think he's a real badass. I think he's one of those guys. He played rugby for years. I think that plays into the fact that he's tough. I think Volkanovski's one of the better guys in the company. Who's your number 1?
Very, very. It's very ironic he said Volk, because you're gonna laugh when I pick my number 1. For your arts, it isn't Izzy, and it isn't John. It isn't two of my faves. My number 1 is Max Holloway.
That's fair.
And
he fought Volk. He fought Volk 3 times. So yeah, I get it.
He fought Volk three times, and I think what really shown, even though we knew that Max is a bad motherfucker, he'll fight anyone. The fight against, I think, Ricardo Ramos, when the last few seconds, point in the middle, he's winning the fight. Yep. Goes out there in the pocket swinging. You know, even on his long win streak, he was just fighting anyone, just putting beatings on people. But it's after when he lost against Volk the second time, anyone who knows me knows how I feel. I thought Max won that fight, but results happen. It is what it is. Max went out there, fought against Calvin Kattar, who was on a really streaking run. He put on an absolute masterclass. He literally beat the piss out of him. When he goes later on that year, fights against Yair in a absolute war of a fight. And but Yair kind of up until recently, he's shown that apart from Max and Volk, he's basically the guy. He's the guy next up. And then after this against Volk the third time, he goes straight into Arnold Allen.
Oh my god!
So even though Max isn't the champ, Max still acts like a champ. He will fight the next best available person.
Quick side note for you. I know he's fighting the zombie. Do you think Max ever gets interested in fighting for the BMF for because he'll take anybody? I think Max versus Justin or Dustin again. I think that sells tickets. But keep going. I just wanted to. Because it just popped into my head when you were saying that, because I think Max would do something like that.
Yeah,
and that gives it more prestige.
I think I feel like he will eventually try 155 pounds again. I feel like when he does do that, I can see that happening. I can see him. It'll be very easy for me to see, when let's say he tells Dana and the boys, I want to go up to 155 and literally make a proper run at the belt. He will get Gaethje. He'll get someone like Justin Gaethje. He'll get thrown into rules, or maybe even like Charles, because he does have a win over Charles on his resume, even though it was at 145 pounds and Charles got injured in that fight. And Max will be like, I bet.
Yeah.
This is the same guy he wanted to fight Khabib last minute and was draining himself to go and cut the weight. Literally, it was I think literally 3 days out. I think it was the doctors, they were saying you cannot cut. Yeah, you can't do it anymore. So if you're talking about someone who's gonna fight fucking Khabib at a weight class above, that's the definition of a bad motherfucker to me.
Totally agree. I think he's a great selection. My number one pick beat your number one pick 3 times, so
twice.
Really a bigger badass. But I like your picks. I'm glad we agreed on Kevin Holland. Was easy for both of us. We're gonna pick him this weekend probably, because that's just what we do. I think by now, if you guys listen to the show, we're Kevin Holland fans. So really enjoyed that. Obviously, top 3 baddest motherfuckers. There we go. Let's jump into the reason we're all here. UFC 291. This card is fan service out the ass, and we're so thankful for it, because this is going to be awesome for the fans. I know there's a lot on the undercard. What is your favorite undercard fight of this weekend?
I'm interested to see Rogan Kopylov, because in this last fight he beat Conahel Soriano, who is tough, and he literally beat him up. He literally finished him. And I've never seen someone do that to him. He's very impressive. So that's someone I'll probably all of the fights. That's the one I'm the more interested in. There are other great fights. You got Derek Lewis is back. You got the other Boxing brother who's fighting at the top of the card. But I'm gonna say Roman Kopylov against Claudio Ribeiro is probably the fight that I'm gonna be the most interested in to see.
That's a good pick. I'm not giving up on Miranda Maverick. Damn it. She got destroyed last time she fought. She let me down. I was embarrassed for her. Miranda Maverick starting the entire event on the early prelims. She gets back in the win column. I hope she doesn't get beat up like she did last time, or else she's probably out of a job. It's unfortunate, but
fingers crossed, because if Manda Maverick ever gets released, this podcast is probably going to be over. So I hope she wins.
Obviously, Derek Lewis getting back. Can Derek Lewis get a win, man?
I mean, he's facing against a guy who normally goes for who's normally quite grappling heavy. So
it's gonna be tough. Like, I think we might have seen the end of the Black Beast. Like, I think we're getting to that spot where, I mean, Lima is very old also, so I don't think there's like a really, like an advantage. They're both 38. If Derek can keep him off of him, he might be able to get back in the win column, but that's a tough fight for him.
I will say this though, Derek Lewis's losses are against elite competition. Sergey Spivak has kind of shown that, he's come on strong. Gone, Pavlovich, he's lost against elite guys. If he loses, if he was to lose on Saturday, that's when all right, it's coming more towards the beginning of the end. But who knows? With him, all it takes is one. All it takes is one from him, and it's night-night. So,
I'm excited, man. Let's just jump into the main card. I know we get it, guys. The prelims, they're going to be good fights. They're always good fights on the prelims. Let's get into it. Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland wins this fight if he stays off the ground, and it's pretty basic. And Chiesa is good enough to get him down, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to pick Kevin Holland because that's what we do on this podcast. We pick Kevin Holland. We ride with our guy. Is there any way you think Kevin Holland can stay off the ground in this one?
Keep it at range, leg kicks, and pushing back. Like if Kevin is able to land and really make Chiesa be like wary of like kind of like going in,
mm-hmm.
that's basically when Kevin Holland can really shine out. But again, Chiesa. But the thing with that is, Chiesa is gonna have to go in close in order to go and get the takedown. So at some point, Chiesa is gonna have to, engage. If he is able to go and take him down and obviously get on top and get in control, that's basically when he has his advantage. Kevin's weird in the sense that he has very good jiu-jitsu, but the problem is that his wrestling doesn't really match that, and that's kind of what the problem is when it comes to him on the ground. Because even against against Hamza, even though that fight lasted like a minute or so, he was scrambling for his life, and it was making Hamza kind of work for it. It's just that Hamza is a fucking phenom who literally just goes go when it comes. When it basically comes to that, he's just like relentless. Eventually, he's just going to get through. Chiesa isn't like that, so if Kevin can make it hard enough on the ground and kind of be able to come back up and also land his shots, because Kevin's more than capable to light him up on the feet, and he's taller and he's longer and he hits way harder.
Oh yeah.
So I do, and recently at welterweight, apart from Wonderboy when he injured like his hand, Kevin's looked like amazing at 170 pounds so far, and I see that continuing. And also, if he wins, he's ranked.
Yes,
and that puts him,
a very important fight for him.
That puts him in a chance where okay, Kevin's like a fan favorite, but now he's fighting against elite competition, and there is a lot of fights out there for him as well.
True.
So for him, this could be a huge chance where because he has huge star potential.
He wins this fight, they give him MVP to welcome him to the company.
Great. See, that basically sells itself.
That'd be huge. That'd be awesome.
That literally sells it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think we're both going Kevin Holland. That's what, like we said. I think this is very interesting. Bobby Green versus Tony Ferguson. Bobby Green's a minus 400 favorite to win this fight. Has Tony Ferguson fallen below the level of Bobby Green? Am I missing? Like, I understand that Tony Ferguson's gone through some lows, but I don't know if he's below Bobby Green? I mean, is it that far away now?
I mean, he's on what, a 4-fight losing streak?
5?
So 5. Oh yeah.
But it's Gaethje, it's Oliveira, it's DeRouche, it's Chandler, and it's, I mean, the Nick Diaz isn't great, but those 4 other ones are all contenders.
It comes down to how much Tony has left. That's what it is, because again, Bobby Green's what, 36, so he's kind of, you know, in that late veteran stage as well. It's a hard one for me because you know what Bobby is going to do in the first round? He's going to go out there and have that awkward movement, hands low, and he's going to try and just pick Tony apart and eventually break him.
Yeah.
You know, recently it's taken Tony to be faced against elite competition, and we've known ever since the Justin fight he hasn't been the same. He hasn't been the same, and he's just aged overnight. Even the first round against Michael Chandler, he looked good until the second round. He rocked him until we got fucking punted into fucking oblivion.
It was so dirty.
If Tony is able to get Bobby Green down and get him in like a dust and has a bit more of a vintage performance, then yeah.
But here's my counter to this. Bobby Green, I know he lost to Islam. He lost to Drew Dober, and he had a no contest against Gordon, in which he was spearing him with his head. What has Bobby Green done to be a -400 favorite over Tony Ferguson? Tony Ferguson was at least fighting championship level contenders. Bobby Green's fought and won. I don't know. I know Tony Ferguson has slowed down tremendously. It just seems like such a stretch for me to give Bobby Green that much of an advantage to win this fight. I feel like it's almost even money, if anything.
I think a lot of people think that Bobby Green is a bit more fresher at this point, and a lot of people's thoughts and stock in Tony has just like gone downhill.
I never had stock in Bobby Green, though. At least I had stock in Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Tony to win, but I'm feeling I'm more hopeful. But I just have a bad feeling that Tony's just gonna keep on sliding down, and this from someone who's a big fan of his, and I'd rather not see that happen.
I know.
But I just have that bad feeling. I just have a bad feeling about this one for some reason.
Okay. And it's very possible. I mean, Bobby Green does have the tools to win. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just think it's very lopsided in terms of betting, and that throws me off. Bobby Green has the tools to win this fight, but if Tony Ferguson shows up as half of Tony Ferguson, I think he's still better than Bobby Green.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna pick for Tony Ferguson to get the decision. Sorry, Tony Ferguson, what's happened to you, but you're not worse than Bobby Green, and I will not allow that name to be a loss on your resume. Damn it. We won't allow it. Okay, next on the fight. Jeez, man, this card is so loaded. We get Pereira versus Wonder Boy. This has fireworks all over it. Unless Pereira gasses himself out in the warm-up room. You guys, this is one of the more dynamic matchups you can have in terms of the kicks and the punches.
On paper, what a fun contrasting styles of striking. You've literally got Wonder Boy, who is a technician as it gets, and is an absolute wizard when it comes to kickboxing. Absolute wizard. Like he's one of my favorite guys to watch. Michel Pereira, who is unpredictable as it comes. Even though recently in his recent fights, he's become a bit more traditional. He's kind of like dialed it in a bit more. And you're going to call me crazy for this, but I feel like Michel Pereira needs to be a bit more unpredictable and wild in this fight. Only because if you're going to do a straight-up kickboxing fight against obviously Wonder Boy, even though Wonder Boy is 39-40 now, Wonder Boy's still Wonder Boy. If you fight him in a straight point-fighting kickboxing fight, that's Wonder Boy's realm all day long. He's only lost 2 times on the feet. One was against Darren Till, which was a very close fight of margins, and against Andy Pettis when Pettis was losing every minute of that fight until he threw a Hail Mary and that's basically what Michel Pereira needs to do. He needs to kind of engage with obviously Wonderboy, but he also needs to catch him in something that Wonderboy would not really expect to see coming at him, because I don't care how unless until I see Wonderboy slow down and fall off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
When if he's faced against another striker, I'm picking Wonderboy, because Wonderboy's skill set is that good. It is that elite. Like, he's basically, for me, in terms of like technical striking, it's him and Izzy. Like, in terms of skill, in terms of what I've seen, in terms of just like skill, in terms of like fundamentals, it's them two, an absolute like a joy to watch, and they're literally the elite of the elite. So, with that being said, I am gonna pick Wonderboy, but if Pereira goes out there and does some crazy shit at the right time and catches Wonderboy, I wouldn't be shocked either. But I've got Wonderboy just doing vintage Stephen Thompson things, man.
I agree. I think this is a really good fight. I think Pereira, like you said, I think he could beat him. Like, he's good enough. He's got skills, but I'm going to stick with Wonderboy too. I think for the reasons you laid out. If it turns into a fight where Pereira's more measured and he's not going out there to put Wonderboy down, he's going to get beat by a decision on points. And it's just, like you said, that's just Wonderboy's style. He's got that down to a science. I think that's a super, super entertaining fight. Let's jump into our co-main event. This one's really exciting for me. Really, really exciting. Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. My guy, Alex, I've been really high on him, obviously, since he came in. This fight sets him up for a title shot. So, sets up both guys for a title shot, actually. Jan made some comments that he's not going to try to take down Alex until the round 2. That's playing with fire. If you have the ability to beat somebody in round 1, why would you ever wait till round 2 to do it? That right there is what gets people knocked out. I think Alex comes out and he knocks him out in the first round.
This fight is going to come down to how Jan wants to fight. I'm going to say this now. I am literally not an expert in fighting. I'm literally just a fan. But if you're going to go out there and kind of decide to fight on the feet against a 2-weight glory kickboxing champion, a guy who has beaten Israel Adesanya a few times, good luck. And good luck. Literally, good luck. This isn't Alex's first time fighting at 205 pounds. He's done it before. He's done it in a different sport, but he's used to fighting at this weight. So
he's a massive human being too, though.
He's huge. He's
like,
huge.
Jan's a big dude, but Alex is really fucking big too.
He's huge, and don't get me wrong. I wouldn't if Jan goes out there and does Polish power and lands on Alex, he can hurt him as well.
Oh yeah.
But the way Alex sets up like his strikes and his leg kicks come out of nowhere. Like it's literally like no hips, just literally and just chops at you. Like he was chopping Izzy down until Izzy caught him in their last fight.
He
was chopping his leg up, man. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Jan has good leg kicks as well. We saw against the Ankalaev fight, he was really chewing on that leg as well.
He lost that fight.
Yeah, and
but you know what Jan has is the experience of fighting Izzy.
Exactly.
He couldn't put Izzy away on the feet. Why would he think he could do the same to Alex? Alex is the closest thing to Izzy that we have, and it's very close.
And the thing about this as well, Izzy is a much better MMA grappler than Alex.
Right.
If I'm Jan, I am literally going, and also the way Alex stands very upright, so confident in his striking. Double leg him. I'm gonna go for the single and I'm gonna go for the double leg as soon as I can, because this is MMA, and okay. I'm basically not going to try go into the mind of someone who is a former world champion, right? I'm not going to go into mindset, but forget about the pride. Forget as great for us. I'd rather see them going at it, bang for bang. Mm-hmm. But if I'm in the mind of someone, you know, if I want to win and I get chances to you know, to get myself another shot at the belt. So if I get Yuri, you know, Poland against Czechoslovakia, a big fight in Eastern Europe, huge fight. That is huge for that over there. If I have myself an advantage in one area, I am going to go for that.
Yep.
I'm going to go for that. I'm going to take him down, and I'm going to show you this right here is not glory. This isn't kickboxing. You won a world title at the weight below because you fought against someone who is primarily a kickboxer. This is MMA, and I'm going to show you that this is MMA, right? So if I'm Jan, I am gonna go for the takedown, but I have a feeling he's basically gonna walk into that left hand and get that out. I see it in round 2 though.
I think what happens is he gets caught in the first round and he goes into a takedown right away. Because there's and if he does that, he's gonna win, and that's perfectly fine. Alex has got to round out his game, and if he's not gonna be around for the long haul, I get it. But first time Jan gets caught with something that he wasn't ready for, he's gonna stumble into that takedown, and he's got enough mass where he could hold somebody down like Alex. As big as Alex is, he's not good enough on the ground to make that work yet. So
even Izzy took him down and kept him there in their first fight within MMA.
Yeah.
So I mean, if Jan takes him down, he's probably gonna stay there.
Yeah. But I'm going to predict that Jan is stupid enough to think that he could do this with somebody as good as Alex, and I think he gets taken out in the first round, and it's going to be 100% his own fault, and he's going to take himself out of a title shot. It's that simple. As good as Glover is as a coach, he cannot fix something that Alex just doesn't have.
Yeah.
So I want to see Alex win just because I think it's fun for the sport. Jan's been around for a while now. It would be nice to see him fight Yuri once, but we got to, keep going. I think it's more fun if Alex wins because then we get the potential move up of Izzy down the line. So,
yeah.
Here we go. The BMF title, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje in just a rematch that fans have been calling for years. This is the ultimate. Here's the line in the sand, cross it, and we're going to slug it out no matter what. We're just going to kick the shit out of each other. I'm going to ride with Dustin. I've been a Dustin guy for a long time. Justin very well could knock him out and go on. These guys are very similar in their approaches. This is going to be awesome for the fans. I'm more excited just to watch it than really break it down because I think the X's and the O's are, can this guy get to your chin before you can get to his chin? I think it's very close in that regard. I'm going to side with Dustin. He won the first time. I think he wins this time.
So I'm just going to say what I put down on my notes. I've got one word. War. This is literally what this fight is going to be. This fight is literally Hearns against Hagler. They are going to meet in the middle. They're going to bang out. They're going to bang out. But I feel like this time, because it's been 7 years since their last fight. Them two have gotten way better. They've improved in so many ways. So this is going to be a bit more high level. But don't get me wrong. The moment one of them gets rocked, they're going to bite down on that mouthpiece, and them two are going to go at it.
Yeah.
So, it's quite funny because in recent fights, they've both lost to the same people only. They both lost to Habib and they both lost to Charles recently.
It's very interesting.
It's very, very interesting. They both fought against Michael Chandler. Obviously, Justin wins in a unanimous decision in a back and forth fight, and obviously Dustin chokes him out, subs him out in round 3. This fight is going to be as advertised. It's going to be as advertised. If I wanted to really break it down, I would say an X factor could be Justin's use of leg kicks, because we know he has a very he really does like wing them, and that could maybe slow Dustin down. But I'll be so real with you. This fight is gonna be close because on one hand, Justin's coming off a good win against Rafael Fiziev in London. That was a very impressive fight. So he's coming into a bit more form recently because Dustin lost for last year, but Dustin Poirier is the definition of a big game fighter. Like a lot of people count him out after Charles, thinking he doesn't really want to be going back for the belt, but he shouldn't against Chandler. He's still got the dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got that dog in him. I do have Dustin slightly winning.
Very close.
I'll be real. It's probably going to be a finish again. I don't know what rounds because this fight is going to be chaos. But a part of me does wish that Justin wins only because that means we get part 3.
Yeah, that's exciting.
But this fight here is going to be like wherever people have this fight is going to go. It's going to be that. It's going to be that. It's just going to be chaos, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I cannot wait for this one.
I got goosebumps just thinking about these guys just in the middle, touch gloves, and it's just on, and it's just from the word go, it's on. That is our UFC 291 breakdown. AJ, I'm gonna give a quick shout out and thank you to our fans. This week we've bumped up to a new plateau in our subscribers. Our most recent video for UFC London had over 100 views, which is massive for us.
Oh man!
So just big shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for checking us out on Twitter, for checking out all of our stuff. Really, really appreciate it. We've been doing really well on our views recently. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Obviously, keep liking, keep subscribing. AJ, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Again, literally, enjoy this weekend. Like, if you're a fan of like combat sports, again, this weekend right here, you got 291. We've kind of gone through it. Everyone knows how great this is going to be. If you're a fan of boxing, you got Spence against Crawford. You got the undisputed welterweight fight. It's finally here. I can't believe it's here, but it's here. You're gonna have you got 2 people at the peak of their powers. You got Spence, who's a bit more 2 great boxers all around, but you got Spence who has a bit more power. Crawford, who is a bit more skilled, but Crawford, since moving up to welterweight, has finished every fight he's had at the weight class so far. This one is going to be an absolute classic, personally, in my opinion. You've got AJ McKee fighting this weekend as well.
No, he's not.
He's not.
He's out.
Shit, really?
Yes, he's out. Pitbull's fighting somebody else. I can't remember what the guy's name is off the top of my head. McKee is out. Injury.
Well, I will leave you with 2 final things. Quick update on Lost. I finished season 3. Charlie, man. Rough.
Time to go.
Bro. Crazy. If you watch Lost, you know what I mean when I do that. But apart from that, I am out. I'm about to watch Goju against Toji, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Nice.
I'm here. So.
All right. Well, guys, this has been HOA MMA. Thank you guys for all your watching. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and we will see you guys next week for the recap of UFC 291 and the look ahead to another good fight on another card.
Man. Our boy Sam, man.
All right. See you guys next time.
See ya.